Welcome to this edition of Ethical Sustainable Investment News and Analysis to Profit By. I'm Ron Robbins, an ethical investing pioneer for over 40 years, quoted in the Wall Street Journal, MarketWatch, the Globe and Mail, and numerous other media, and founder of the highly respected global ethical sustainable investing information website, Investing for the Soul. And please listen to my disclaimer statement at the end of this podcast. Now enjoy this podcast. Hello. There is some interference on this audio that I haven't been able to get rid of, so please accept my apologies for that. Ron Robbins here. Welcome to podcast episode 58, published on May 21st, titled The Top Renewable Energy Stocks, Funds, Plus, and presented by Investing for the Soul. InvestingfortheSoul.com is your site for vital global ethical and sustainable investing news, commentary, information, and resources. Remember that you can find a full transcript, links to content including stock symbols, quotes, and bonus material at this episode's podcast page located at investingforthesoul.com/podcasts, and Google any terms that are unfamiliar to you. It seems most of the stock research appearing in the media is focused on renewable energy stocks and funds. It reflects what analysts are looking at. So here are a few top articles covering that theme in the past 2 weeks. The first one is titled, Biden's New Infrastructure Bill Could Mean Big Things for These Renewable Energy Stocks, and is found on nasdaq.com. It reviews 3 alternative energy stocks by 3 different analysts. I'll mention the analyst, their recommending stock, and a few brief quotes from them on their stock recommendation. Quote 1. Howard Smith picks Atlantica Sustainable Infrastructure. The company calls itself a sustainable infrastructure company with a majority of our business in renewable energy assets. Now, importantly for investors wanting income, in the first quarter, cash available for distribution grew 7.6% over the prior year period, with revenue growing almost 12%. 2. Daniel Folber likes Equinor. The company is making big moves away from oil and gas and into renewable energy. It's now drifting toward pairing its offshore oil expertise with offshore wind. Its offshore wind portfolio leads the oil majors and is one of the largest of any operator in the world. 3. Travis Hoyam recommends Bloom Energy. Bloom Energy makes fuel cells for utility and commercial scale applications. Building a truly clean electric grid will require more wind and solar, but it'll also require huge amounts of energy storage and on-demand electricity production, both of which Bloom Energy can provide. End quotes. Next in the renewable energy theme is this article by Louis Navellier, who wrote a piece titled 5 Pick and Shovel Solar Stocks for the Green Energy Gold Rush. It's found on the Kiplinger.com site. I'll mention each stock that Mr. Navellier writes about and follow it with a few select quotes from him. 1. SolarEdge Technologies makes inverters, a key component of the microgrid that delivers solar energy to where it's needed in homes, schools, businesses, campuses, and beyond. Shares of SolarEdge Technologies have been on a tear the last 2 years, but have declined more recently. 2. Enphase Energy also manufactures inverter systems. Unlike string converters, made by SolarEdge, which draw power wholesale from all the panels in an installation. Enphase sells microinverters, which draw energy from individual panels as needed or as conditions allow, and as a result can be more efficient. Though microinverters cost more, the market for them may grow faster because they can be more responsive to site-specific conditions. Shares of the solar stock are off from their February highs of over $200 and took another hit after Enphase's first quarter report. But Enphase can weather these kinds of storms for now. 3. Generac Holdings has grown handsomely, selling backup generators to consumers who have become more attuned to and proactive toward power outages. In 2019, Generac entered the battery storage business with a pair of acquisitions. Generac has been doing business since 1959 and has a global network of 7,000 dealers and decades of customer data that it can ply with its solar offering. Shares have been high flyers, up more than 250% since April of last year. 4. Daqo New Energy is based in China and produces polysilicon, which is used to make solar panels. Demand for polysilicon is increasing, and this is boosting prices. According to Reuters Research, in 2021 alone, prices per kilogram for polysilicon have risen from $11 to nearly $19, which goes straight to Daqo's top line. This could make Daqo one of the best solar stocks to have on your radar. 5. CleanSpark offers a suite of software solutions that provide end-to-end microgrid modeling, communications, and energy management. CleanSpark doesn't make money yet, but analysts are forecasting it will report a profit at the end of this quarter. Also noteworthy, CleanSpark is ramping up its participation in the Bitcoin mining business. CleanSpark notes that 95% of the power for its mining operations is carbon-free. End quotes. The third article on renewable energy is titled 4 Renewable Energy Stocks to Consider Buying Right Now. It's by Josh Dillon and appeared on stockmarket.com. Again, I'll mention the writer's picks and follow each one with some key quotes from the writer. Quote 1. Renewable Energy Group Inc. focuses on providing cleaner, low carbon intensity products and services. It is a producer of biomass-based diesel in North America. The company has announced a proposed offering of $500 million for green projects. The company intends to use the net proceeds to finance or refinance new and or existing eligible green projects. 2. NextEra Energy Inc. The company owns Florida Power and Light Company, which is the largest rate-regulated electric utility in the U.S. In particular, NextEra Energy's renewable energy business, NextEra Energy Resources, contributed $598 million in adjusted earnings, up from $529 million in the first quarter of last year. On top of that, the company, along with Opal Fuels, announced plans to build Minnesota's first renewable natural gas facility. 3. SunPower Corporation. SunPower Corporation is a provider of distributed generation storage and energy services. The company designs an all-in-one residential and commercial solution for customers. SunPower Corp stock has risen over 500% over the past year. 4. Enphase Energy Inc. Yes, here we go again. The company is the world's leading supplier of microinverter-based solar plus storage systems. Also, it has an intelligent platform that delivers smart, user-friendly solutions that connect solar generation, storage, and energy management. Last week, Enphase announced an expanded collaboration with Palomar Solar, a leading solar energy installation company. End quotes. Getting a lot of hype recently is the BlackRock ETFs. However, Adriel Vasil at Corporate Knights has posted a critical piece on BlackRock iShares MSCI ACWI Low Carbon Target ETF. She writes, quote, "This ETF seeks to track the investment results of an index composed of companies with a lower carbon exposure than that of the broad market." What's inside? Traditional ethical investors might gasp when they see 15 makers of controversial weapons, a handful of for-profit prisons, harmful pesticide makers, and mining firms tied to severe environmental damage in this ETF's portfolio, and 6 thermal coal burning companies, 11 climate policy blocking companies, 4 deforestation and palm oil laggards linked to clear cuts in the Amazon rainforest and Southeast Asia, and 6 industrial meat companies including Tyson Foods, America's largest beef, pork, and poultry processor. BlackRock's position? BlackRock says the ETF's MSCI weighted average carbon intensity, that's tons of CO2 estimated per $1 million in sales, is just 64.74, significantly lower than the 178.5 average for the benchmark MSCI ACWI index. End quotes. Sometimes there are just too many good articles to cover, so I'm going to start a worthy mention segment where the bare bones of an article are given. For the links to these articles, just go to this podcast page at investingforthesoul.com/podcast and scroll down to this episode. One is titled, "A Bet 20 Years Ago Made It the Exxon of Green Power," and appeared in the New York Times. It's by Stanley Reed and Raphael Minder. Subtitle, "Iberdrola is a leader in wind and solar power thanks largely to a bet its CEO made 20 years ago." 2. Morningstar analyst Elisa Stankiewicz has posted this article, 15 top funds leading the way on ESG. If you aren't a Morningstar.com subscriber, you should be. Even the basic free plan will allow you to see the full content of this article and much more. 3. Final mention is given to the UK's FT article titled 2 Top FTSE 100 Ethical Stocks. FTSE is spelled FTSE. It's by Jamie Adams. He is recommending the following and quoting from his article: Coca-Cola HBC, this Switzerland-based bottler of the Coca-Cola product, has consistently ranked at the top of the FTSE for Good index series since its inception in 2000. Next is GlaxoSmithKline, has proven to be an ESG leader thanks to its work in providing access to medicine. What's more, this top British firm has promised to have a net zero environmental impact by 2030. End quotes. Well, these are my top news stories with their stock and fund tips for this podcast. The top renewable energy stocks, funds, plus. To get all the links, stock symbols, or to read the transcript of this podcast and more, go to investingforthesoul.com/podcast and scroll down to this episode. Also, be sure to click the like and subscribe buttons in iTunes or Apple Podcasts or wherever you download or listen to this podcast. And please click the share buttons to share this podcast with your friends and family. Let's promote a better post-COVID world through ethical and sustainable investing. Contact me if you have any questions. Stay well and healthy and engage with ethical and sustainable investing. Thank you for listening. Talk to you next on June 4th. Bye for now. Learn how to create a simple portfolio reflecting your personal values by taking my 1-hour tutorial. Go to investingforthesoul.com/podcasts and click the link in the right-hand column for my DIY Ethical Sustainable Investing Pays tutorial. Now, I'll mention in the podcast if I have any direct interest or holdings in companies or securities I'm talking about. Furthermore, any news, opinions, analysis, or other information offered by myself, as well as references and information to or from other external sources in this podcast, is provided as general market information and should not be relied upon and thus does not constitute investment advice. Investors should consult their own licensed investment professional before making investments. Also, I will not accept liability for any loss or damage, including without limitation any loss of profit, which may arise directly or indirectly from use of or reliance on information in this podcast. Do contact me at ronr@investingforthesoul.com. Signing off, this is Ron Robbins.